And for everyone that's just getting on, we're going to give it just a couple of minutes, probably kick off around 7:05, just to give everyone enough time to get in.
Looks like we got a few more folks joining.
All right. So anyone who joins late, maybe we'll just catch them up. And this will be recorded, so we'll link to it in the application itself, and then also send a follow-up email to everyone who is registered tonight with that link too. So hey guys, just to introduce ourselves, my name's Alex Williamson. I'm the chair of the applications committee this year, and we've also got Sarah McGuire on.
Hello.
She's our vice chair this year. And just to kind of give you guys an idea of what role we play, we are not responsible for choosing the applicants necessarily. We will be involved in that process, but it's not our process alone. We're really just facilitators for kind of the application process and trying to make it as seamless as possible and trying to make it as positive of an experience as possible for you all as applicants. So part of that is trying to design an application that's hopefully pretty straightforward and clear what we're looking for, and maybe even fun, dare we say. And then the other part of that is trying to be vessels of information for you guys so that you can email us or call us, or have kind of these information sessions and get your questions answered so that you have a better understanding of what we're looking for from potential applicants. So with that, the information session is gonna kind of go in really two parts. We're gonna do kind of an opening session or section about Future Fund and what role we play and what our organization does, and kind of the history of Future Fund. And then we'll also have more of a process-oriented sort of second section where Sarah will walk us through what the application and coaching and finalist process actually looks like. And then at the end, we'll kind of open it up for just general questions. Throughout, I don't mind being interrupted. I'm the youngest of 3 kids. I'm very much used to being interrupted. So throughout, feel free to interrupt us at any time if you have a burning question that relates to whatever we're talking about in that moment. All right, let me make sure I got my screen sharing. Okay. So there's kind of an overview of what we just talked about. So what is Future Fund? Who are we? So we are a group of young professionals, post-college to kind of mid-career, 22 to 45-ish. We put the ish on there. We've got some folks who are a little older, but that's about kind of where we stack up. We typically network at events throughout the year. That's going to be a little different this year living in the time of COVID, but we're still trying to do some of that virtually and trying to create an organization for young professionals to really create a culture of philanthropy. And that's kind of the third piece, right? We believe in doing good. We believe in putting some of that networking and effort into trying to improve our community. So as far as the history, this is going to be our 21st / kind of moving into our 22nd year even. It started in 1999 as a group of funders. Pretty quickly reached a few hundred in membership. Eventually received a few anonymous donations to kind of build the endowment that allows us to disperse funds every year. And then recently, 3 years ago, so now be our third event, shifted the grant making process from kind of a traditional grant where we have a focus on one specific item and take applicants and then just as a group determine who we want to give that money to what we call Future Fund 10 Live, which is the program you guys are applying for. And we'll talk more about what that is, but essentially Future Fund 10 Live was a switch to an in-person live event where nonprofits chosen from a pool of applicants would pitch an audience with their idea and pitch them about their organization. And the audience would determine who they thought made the most compelling case to receive the grant money. So rehash of some of that. As people kind of age out of Future Fund, we still have this other larger membership who can attend events and support the endowment. We have a lifetime membership. It's included with that. The Future Fund 10 program is not just the event. So we don't just kind of throw you out there and say, hey, have fun talking in front of a bunch of people with no help. Part of the program is meant to give you guys coaching on how to best pitch your program or your organization, but then also coaching to attempt to help make your organization better in general. So we're kind of working with you. You'll notice a question in the application around where you guys think that your organization could use some help. And so we're going to try to pair up people in the community who have skills that your nonprofit may not have within its membership or within its organization, and try to pair you guys up so that they can help you do things like update a website or set up a recurring donation page or work through legal and contracts or whatever these resources you guys may not have. So that's part of the program as well, is sort of attempting to identify areas where you could use some help and giving you resources to meet those. But then of course the big event at the end is the Future Fund 10 Live event, which this year we are tentatively planning for it to be virtual, with the expectation that we'll still have to do most large events in a virtual setting come May. But if things change, that could change. But yeah, that's the event in May where you give your 3-minute pitch, and the winner on that night receives a grand prize, and then other prizes are awarded that night as well for other pitches too. A few slides of future funders at past events throughout the year. And with that, I'll kick it over to Sarah to talk about kind of the timeline of how the Future Fund process works.
Absolutely. So as you'll see here on this slide, it's, as Alex said, this is a process. This is not just a, hey, come get on stage and show us what you got kind of situation. We want to be with you every step of the way. Alex and I and the applications committee are kind of the first stop, and then you'll get to know some of the other committees and folks as the process continues. So of course, the first step in the process is the application, which is now live. It's been live for a little over a week now. It's in SurveyMonkey format, so you can access it just by going to a web address. And maybe Alex, we can drop that in the chat.
Yeah.
I might have it pulled up. So Alex and I and our committee members worked to think about what went well on the application in years past and how we can improve it even more this year. So you'll see some questions on there that really ask, the obvious questions about what your organization does and the makeup of your board and what you would use the funds for and those sorts of things. But then there's some questions too about where you are as an organization and what you would want to improve upon, and then questions about your focus area. And just to be totally transparent, this year, Future Fund is making an effort to highlight organizations who are in some way touching social injustice issues here in Greensboro. So that's not to say that your organization has to focus on that, or even that it has to have a project that is focusing on that, because we certainly want anyone and everyone to apply. But we are making that kind of a featured point on the application, which you will see. So applications open. The next major timeline date on the calendar after that is October 15th. Applications are due at 11:59 p.m. on October 15th. And so that would be the next big deadline coming up for you. And after that point, we will, when I say we, I don't mean Alex and I mean a group of volunteers from Future Fund will participate in an evening where we read through all of the applications, kind of weigh them out, pros and cons, and come up with our list of 10 finalists that will move forward to the Future Fund 10 live event in spring 2021. And so that event will happen in about mid-November, and then the finalists will be notified after that. So if your organization is one of those that makes it to the finalist round, there are some pieces to the puzzle that happen between that point and the Future Fund 10 live event in May. And so a big piece of that is the coaching. As Alex mentioned, we want this experience for the finalists to be kind of a holistic wraparound service experience. We want to help you where you have potholes in your road as an organization. We want to help you connect with each other. And so part of that is coaching. And the coaching is kind of twofold. So there's going to be 2 days of mandatory coaching with professional consultants. That's Extraordinary Inc., Rich and Sarah Schlentz. They will make time to meet and talk with all of you during those 2 days. And I'm blanking. What are the dates on those, Alex? Is it on the application? I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's like early March, maybe.
That's right. March 4th and 5th of 2021. Yep.
So those will be mandatory dates, March 4th and 5th for the coaching. And then aside from the professional coaching, you'll also get community coaches. And those coaches are there to help you with things like contract review if you have legal issues, website review, if you want to work on your social marketing, those sorts of things. And so we have a whole roster of community coaches who are experts in those particular areas that we would match you with to help with some of those community coaching pieces. And so those are two kind of important things that would happen early spring. And then a dress rehearsal for our big event. As Alex mentioned, it is virtual at this point. Fingers crossed we may be able to incorporate some kind of in-person something. But we would still want to do a dress rehearsal for that, and that would be on the week of March 25th or the week of April 5th. So about a month out from the actual event. So those are kind of the big timelines, big dates, things that would be happening as a part of this process over the next several months. Other opportunities or things just to be aware of. This would be a great PR opportunity for your organization. Alex, will you flip back to that last slide again?
Yeah.
Sorry. You're going to be supported with social media posts and emails from our marketing committee here with Future Fund. And then, of course, your pitch for Future Fund 10 Live will be widely viewed. The first year that Future Fund 10 Live happened, of course, it was in person. Alex just flashed up some pictures from there, and it was great. I think there were over 300 people there. Last year, the Future Fund team had to quickly transition a planned live event to virtual, and they did an amazing job. And I believe there were well over 1,000 people viewing. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah,
I can't
total
remember.
viewership after, like, some live, some later, was right at 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So huge PR opportunity here. And the great thing about having something that's virtual is that you meet people where they are, they can tune in when they want, and if it's recorded, they can always go back and watch it again. So thank you, Alex. You can flip to the next slide if you want to. So again, Extraordinary Inc. is the company that Rich and Sarah that you'd be working with, the professional coaches that will get you in tip-top shape to give that pitch during Future Fund 10 Live. They're certainly the experts. If you've attended an event, any of the Future Fund Live events before, you've seen what an amazing job all of the organizations do. And Rich and Sarah do a fantastic job helping them get there. So you'll also have access to MBA students. You will have a Future Fund mentor, which are those coaches again that we mentioned, the PR opportunities that we've already talked about with viewership. You'll get a professional headshot. You'll also get a free 1-year membership to the Guilford Nonprofit Consortium. And so Future Fund is a program of the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro, as is the Guilford Nonprofit Consortium. And so that's a membership organization for nonprofits here in the Greensboro area, and you get a membership to that consortium for free. Another thing that is really important to think about as a takeaway from this is your fellowship with the 9 other organizations that are chosen as finalists. One thing that we're doing internally at Future Fund this year is trying to find a way to build up our alumni network so that all of the folks who have gone through this amazing process together year after year can connect with each other. And so you would be a part of that, that cohort of folks. And then of course, the Community Foundation, you'd get some promotion from them as well. And here's just some photos. These are the finalists that you'll see. And then I believe those are photos from the coaching sessions from last year. So those are just some snapshots of the folks that have participated. This, of course, was when the event was live and in person in 2018. That's at the, which theater?
Pride Stage. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Again, those are the finalists from was that 2 years ago? Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So back to the application. Did you want to go for this, Alex?
Yeah, I'll actually pull it up real quick just
okay,
to
cool.
kind of give you guys an idea of how it's laid out.
Perfect.
So I would definitely read through all of this up top. It's some rehash of what we've kind of been describing, but definitely gives you a pretty good idea of exactly what the process will be and how it's broken out. One thing I'll note here, so you'll notice this, there isn't a requirement to currently be in nonprofit organizations. I'm not sure if that applies to anyone here who maybe is in the process of doing that. But we, of course, would want you to obtain that 501c3 within the year after the award. So if you're just starting, you're welcome to apply, but certainly that'd be a condition post award. And then be located in or serving the greater Greensboro area, and a few others there. So up top, all of the information about kind of the process generally. And then as we go through, you kind of get into first some kind of boring, sometimes organizational questions. And our goal here isn't to exclude anyone if you don't have a tax ID yet, or if you have a small number of representatives, or people who work with you. You don't have a Facebook page yet. We're not necessarily worried about those things. Those aren't the factors that are going to exclude you from consideration. We just like to know if you do have them already. And those are that's the type of information that should you be chosen as a finalist would help us to kind of determine, okay, maybe we should help you set you up with someone who's really good at social media and to develop a plan for how you can take advantage of that. Great. Then we kind of start to get into primary area of focus, financial profile. Again, not trying to exclude anyone because you have a smaller or larger budget or sort of trying to shade this one way or the other, just information for us to make a smart decision. And then kind of the important questions here about your organizational mission. And these are the things that are going to help us to determine who we think should move forward as a finalist. So we really want to know in a compelling way what your plans are for the money. Should you be awarded it? Do you have a special program that you're just starting, or an idea that that you'd like to expand on or grow, or something that will help you scale, things like that. So these are the areas where we're really going to dive in. The final piece here is a video. So part of, obviously, Future Fund 10 Live is presenting your pitch to the audience. And so we just like to see you do that. So it doesn't have to be super high produced. You could just pick your phone up, turn the front facing camera on, and start recording yourself talking. But we want to hear a little bit about what your mission is as an organization and how you're going to pitch your program and your organization to the audience. Doesn't have to be super polished. The entire point of the process is to go through the coaching and refine your pitch and to improve on this stuff. But we want to kind of see you guys in action. So record that video. Totally fine if it's just on a cell phone. It should not be something that's been pre-produced. So if you have like pre-produced marketing videos that somebody did you as like as an overview of your organization, we're not looking for that. We're looking for new stuff that you guys record, kind of pitching your organization. Once you've recorded it, you'll just click this link. This will take you over to Dropbox, and it should just give you this little screen here. And you can just choose from your computer and then upload your file. So just look a little bit like this, and you'll go grab whatever file you've got there and load it, and then you'll name it and just try to include your organization's name and your name in the file when you load it. And so if we get an application that is submitted and you forget to attach the video or something like that, part of what Sarah and I will be doing is sort of reviewing those and just trying to make sure that everything's lined up. So, don't worry too much. Obviously, mistakes happen. So we'll try to reach out to you if we see that there's an application but no video, or video but no application, or something weird like that happens.
Alex, we've got a question in the Dropbox, and I think I know the answer, but I just want to make sure I'm not saying the wrong thing.
Sure.
The person who produces or who is featured in the video, does that have to be the same person that gives the pitch for the final event?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be doesn't necessarily have to be like your executive director, but it would just need to be the same consistent person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And does the application need to be saved, or can you do it all in one sitting?
That is a great question.
I don't know if SurveyMonkey has that.
Yeah. I think you can leave it up, as I understand it. You can leave it open as long as you need to. But it doesn't have like a save functionality. So you may want to, if you're working through like one of these questions, you might want to type it out. Just kind of copy and paste here and type it out in Word, and then save it there and submit it when you're ready. Cool. All right, a couple of reminders, and then we'll kind of just open the floor generally for questions. The coaching sessions are mandatory. Back to Mary Ellen's question, the person who gives the kind of the named representative and the person in the video must be able to give the pitch on May 1st, or ahead of May 1st, and potentially on May 1st. We are going to kind of do some social promotion, so I think everyone would typically be fine with that, but just to make sure it's stated. And then we do not want professional videos for the application. We want to see the real you. Couple of final kind of FAQ type questions. Can religious groups apply? Absolutely. Just like any other group, be sure to highlight how you're innovative and doing something different, and kind of changing the nonprofit landscape in Greensboro. Who has to do the video? We've covered that one numerous times now. And then kind of similar idea. What do you want us to do? Say during the video. Use it as a prompt. Kind of think about the things in the application and sort of speak to those, and really just speak to us like you would anybody you were excited to tell about your organization. And with that, is there anything to add on your end that I've missed?
Just one note about the videos is that while it does need to be the same person who the coaches would be working with, you know, your video doesn't have to be just, you know, talking into a camera. There have been submissions in the past that are really fun and creative, and so there's no like rule book about what your video should look like, other than it should be compelling and it should tell your story well. So I would say we encourage you to be creative with that as well.
Yeah. Awesome point. I know this is a weird format sometimes, and people aren't always eager to raise their hand and ask questions, but are there any other questions from folks? We've got one more kind of thing we want to discuss, but would open it up right now to any open questions. All right. So with that, let me pull the application back up, and I want to highlight one section here.
Oh, we did have one question in the chat. How long should the video last? I think it's 3 minutes or less, right?
Yeah, somewhere around 3 to 4 minutes. No longer than 4. Part of the coaching and finals process is trimming your pitch, because it's really hard to tell your whole story in 3 minutes. That's why Rich and Sarah are so great. It's because they teach you kind of the skills to do that. But yeah, no longer than 4 minutes. And if it's 4 minutes and a second, we're not gonna, you know, disqualify you or anything. Okay, so there is a link here. Understanding that Zoom is hard and frustrating sometimes, if you guys do kind of get into the application and have questions, and you know you feel like you had a question during the information session but forgot it or whatever, Sarah and I and other members of the committee and of Future Fund generally are going to be available over the next month roughly until the application deadline for one-on-one sessions. So these will be 10 to 15 minutes where you guys can just we'll kind of set up a time for us to call you, and you guys can ask questions and pick our brains, or kind of get anything out there that you have that you feel more comfortable in a one-on-one session. So just click on that link. It's another event, excuse me, another Eventbrite sign up. And there are different dates. It's every evening, Monday through Thursday. So you can just select a date that works for you, and we'll get notified that somebody signed up. And then we'll kind of set you up with whoever's gonna do the one-on-one session with you, and you can ask any questions and kind of have any discussion that you feel appropriate for 10 or 15 minutes. All right. Before we call this thing to a close, any other questions or thoughts? All right. Well, from my side, I really appreciate you guys signing up for the information session and coming out tonight and being interested in Future Fund. And we hope that all of you will apply, and really reach out to us at any time if you have questions. And we're here to help. We're here to make this process as seamless as possible. Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Good seeing everyone.
Y'all have a good night.